I'm a physician. When you come in to see me, I mark down a code, and that's how it gets billed to these numbers. So it was 18,000. Obama's going to make you healthier. There's going to be 140,000 codes.
Oh, Jesus.
Included among these codes will be 312 new codes for injuries sustained by animals. Among these codes will be 72 new codes from injuries sustained from birds, including 9 new codes for injuries sustained by the macaw. I've been in practice 20 years. I've never seen a macaw injury, but I have. There will be 2 new codes, and this is to keep you safe and to keep you healthy. 2 new codes for injuries sustained by turtles. And you ask yourself, why would there have to be 2? Because the government needs to know whether you were bitten or struck by a turtle. Just trying to take care of you, because you can't do it for yourself. Kids get their news through YouTube and videos. They don't watch the news much anymore. So my 16-year-old son sent me a clip of Jimmy Kimmel on the street. And it's pretty hilarious. Jimmy Kimmel goes out on the street. He says to the first person who walks up, he says, you understand that the president has pardoned the sequester, and he sent it to Portugal. That wasn't the response. The response was, oh, you know, I appreciate it. The president is such a good man. He wouldn't send it to Portugal unless they deserved it. He does a few more, and they all respond the same way. Then he goes, well, you've heard that North Korea is rattling a saber and launching missiles, but the president has sent the sequester to North Korea. And they're like, damn right, they deserve it. But I think the president is losing the optics of this. The president is losing the public relations battle. He says, woe is me, I've got to close down the self-guided White House tours. Well, he does that, and the same week he announces that he has found an extra $250 million to send to Egypt, in addition to the $2 billion we already sent. So they've got money lying around, or they're willing to print it up to send it overseas, but they don't have enough money for the self-guided tours at the White House. He says, oh, I've got to fire the air traffic controllers. I've got to fire the meat inspectors. We got a $3.8 trillion government, and you can't find any place to cut. If you've seen the chart of what's going on with spending over the next 10 years, it goes like this. If we have a sequester, it goes like this. We still increase spending over the next 10 years. You can't even see the white space between the lines, and he's saying, oh, we don't have enough money. So I've come up with a few suggestions for him. Here's number 1. If you just don't rehire the people who leave through retirement from the federal government, that's $6 billion a year. He waited a year and a half before he even got started. That would have been $9 billion, $10 billion. And he didn't do anything. You can save $10 billion a year by having competitive contracts, meaning that you don't have Davis Bacon, your schools would cost 20 or 30% less. You do the competitive wage, but you don't have to pay New York City union scale. $9 to $10 billion. There's a lot of smaller items. They run throughout government. For example, last year, you may not realize, you spent $325,000 on a robotic squirrel. Now you might ask yourself, why would you need a robotic squirrel? Well, it's an important question. These scientists wanted to know whether a rattlesnake would strike a squirrel that was not wagging its tail. But they couldn't get a squirrel to volunteer not to wag its tail. So they built one, and guess what? The rattlesnake will bite the you-know-what out of a squirrel that's not wagging its tail. They spent $500,000 on a menu for Mars. And this is good. If any of you've got a 26-year-old son or daughter living in your basement and you'd like to find a job, it's a great job. $5,000 stipend. The study was in Hawaii, all expenses paid. There were some prerequisites. Your youngster had to like food. So they went there for a couple weeks. They studied this and they came up with a menu for Mars. And guess what a bunch of college students came up with? Pizza. I got on the Foreign Affairs Committee this year, and so I got to ask Hillary Clinton a few questions. And I did.